fellas. It is Wednesday, the 27th, the day before Thanksgiving, and we're going to be going over the Thanksgiving and Black Friday games, giving you a few picks we like, a few storylines we like here, and yeah, let's hop right into it. We're going to start right at the top here with the Chicago-Detroit game. I feel like this is going to be a good game, but Detroit's going to come out on top and kind of dominate like they have been. Something to keep an eye on is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Was limited yesterday in practice and did not practice the day before with a knee injury, so that could be a little more serious than we think there. David Montgomery had the same situation where he didn't practice and then was limited, but he was just a shoulder and he should be just fine. I imagine that Amon-Ra will probably play, but he's got 2 days, and I feel like a practice today will kind of really tell. David Montgomery, though, I have full hope that he plays, and yeah. So, hopping right into the picks we like Jahmyr Gibbs going at 20.5 receiving yards. I like this pick whether Amon-Ra's in or out. I think Jahmyr Gibbs producing on a receiving level has been a strong point for them, being able to catch out of the backfield and produce that sort of two-way back that we've been seeing from him. This year receiving hasn't been as strong, but I mean, if we're hoping for 21 yards, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 6 out of 11 games. Especially out of a defense that I think could get some pressure on Jared Goff and could be looking for a few dump offs. Honestly, I don't hate either receiving yard line for David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs, but we'll get to Monty in a second. So I like Jahmyr Gibbs receiving yards there. Obviously, anytime touchdown is like a smash for both him and Monty again. I also don't hate the 2.5 receptions. But I'm going to take the receiving yards for Jahmyr Gibbs. And then we'll just move over to Monty right now. And again, I like his anytime touchdown. But with depending on how he practices this week, which let's see if ESPN's got anything. Actually, we'll just go to the Lions. Injuries. So they don't got anything from today yet, which makes sense. RotoWire doesn't, so I don't see why they would. But anytime touchdown from David Montgomery, you could take the rushing touchdown for a little extra more. But other than that, from him, I don't like a ton right now. I like rushing yards a little bit, but if he's a full play, then anytime touchdown's about a lock from him and Gibbs. Moving over to the Bears side of the ball, Keenan Allen's receptions. Where'd he go? There he is. At 4.5. I like that, even though it is a little bit of a down demultiplier, I think. At 0.9, I still like him to have those receptions. He seemed to be almost a clear one there since the new offense has come in. I mean, he got 15 targets last game on 9 receptions. If it's anything like last game, which Minnesota's got a fairly good defense, Detroit's got a phenomenal defense. I don't see why the game couldn't be like fairly close at least, or at least they favor Caleb's passing. And with Keenan being the one there, at least that's what it seemed like. I don't see why he couldn't have 5 receptions again. You could also look towards his targets, I guess, but I'd be hesitant on that as we look at the game log here. We got 15 last game, and then 8, 6, and then 10, and then 7. But then again, taking in the fact that new offense is in, maybe it's running a different scheme. And based on that, DJ Moore seems to be getting way more involved. So you could look at him a little bit, but if anything, I like the 4.5 receptions for Keenan Allen. He's a surefire catch in that stance. So those are the picks I like from that game. Moving on to Giants and Dallas game. I got one pick from this game, and that's Tyrone Tracy to go higher than 63.5 rushing yards. Let's just go look at the Dallas schedule. We'll just run through the last few games for them. So against Washington, granted, taking the fact that both Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson went out, Jaden Daniels still had 74 yards, and Jeremy McNichols had 22 on 3 carries. He averaged 7.5 a carry. Now, granted, maybe if he got more carries, then it wouldn't be like that. But I still think that they would have ran over him. Joe Mixon, again, we know what he did. 109 with 3 touchdowns. Philadelphia, again, it's Saquon, but, I mean, he had 66, and then they really just try to pass the ball a ton. I mean, Jalen Hurts only had 22 attempts. They had 38 carries. Saquon only had 14 himself. So they didn't really have to play a ton on offense. I mean, we can even go one more game back to Bijan, who ran for 86 on him, and then put up another 60 through the air. So I like Tyrone Tracy to go off, especially. I mean, he's definitely the lead back in this offense now. And looking at his last 3 games, 42, 103, 66. I mean, this is a bad rush defense here. This is a bad pass defense here. They're going to pass the ball, or at least try to. They couldn't get anything going either way with Tommy DeVito, but I have faith that either they start Drew Lock or against this absolutely horrid Cowboys rush defense, that it can be at least a little better. We can even come to the numbers here real quick. We got the Cowboys right here. People love to run against them, get great production, great efficiency with 19 rushing touchdowns. I mean, if you want to take a rushing touchdown for Tyrone Tracy, you might as well. I don't hate it. Moving on to the next game with Miami Green Bay. I got 3 picks from this game. We're going to start off on the Packers side of the ball. But a quick narrative, I think this is going to be a big rushing game for both sides of the ball. Not necessarily rushing, but play from the backfield. I like Josh Jacobs to go over his line of 74.5. I originally saw it at 72.5, and I liked it there. I still like it now. I like it probably up to 75, maybe 76, but then that's kind of pushing it for me there. I like the 74. But like I said, I think this is going to be a big out of the backfield kind of game. And I think Devon Achane is going to go over his total yardage of 90.5. I also like him to score a touchdown. But I think it's going to be a big Packers get pressure. Tua has to look for Achane out of the backfield, or they just design plays for Achane just to get it out short and get yards. So I don't hate the touchdown. I don't hate the straight receiving yards, but I like the total yardage. They're better. Um, and then sticking with that sort of narrative, I think last game was sort of a big narrative game of division. I mean, the way the Pats play the Dolphins, it is how it is. Waddle always has a big game against the Pats. I like Waddle to go under. I think last game wasn't necessarily a big fluke, but it was more of, all right, we're going to make them beat us with someone other than Tyreek, which Tyreek really hasn't done all that ton this season. But Waddle lower than 44.5. I like that there. Moving on to Las Vegas and KC. We don't know what's going on with the KC backfield. Whoops. We're gonna look at the practice reports here. KC, Isaiah Pacheco. He was a full participant at practice on Tuesday. He was limited all week last week. I don't know what's gonna happen. And I'm kind of worried about it for Kareem Hunt's sake. And I'm also kind of worried about it for Isaiah Pacheco's sake when he comes back, because I don't believe that they're gonna just give him the full roll back this season. I think they might try and ease him in, make it a little committee, and then once it gets to the playoffs, once he's 120%, then they put him in. With that being said, the fact that we don't know anything in the backfield, I have a tough time taking anything on the Chiefs side of the ball, because I don't know. Are they going to feed the ball to Kareem? Are they going to make it a run committee where they each have 15 carries? Or are they going to pass it? So I don't really know what to take for the Chiefs side of the ball. Obviously, it's not a great defense in the Raiders, so you'd probably be fine taking a lot from the passing side. Just for my sake, I don't feel great taking anything without knowing the situation in the backfield. However, Brock Bowers, he doesn't have a ton of lines out yet. I like his anytime touchdown. We're going to look at the numbers here real quick. Passing. Chiefs. Teams like to pass against the Chiefs. I mean, for the most part, they have about mediocre efficiency at 65.5% completion percentage. They target fairly down the field with 6.8 yards per attempt. But 15 passing touchdowns against the Chiefs is the number we're looking at there. Also a fair amount of yards compared to some other teams. But I like Brock Bowers anytime touchdown. Even with AOC in at the quarterback, I think Brock's the clear number one. I mean, it's hard as a rookie tight end to say he's the number one, but I think the way he's been producing, it's tough to say he's not the number one. I mean, we'll just look at the game log. I mean, 10 targets, 4 receptions, 16 targets, 8 targets, 5 targets, 14 targets, 10 targets, 12 targets. This man gets targeted like crazy, and majority of the time, he's getting those catches and turning them into yards when he's not against a phenomenal pass defense. I mean, we can look at the Broncos numbers. People try to pass on them. It's not great, and they don't have the greatest of luck going against them. So, with that being said, Chiefs are a different story. Like I said, I like the touchdown. Receptions, I don't hate that either. I mean, he gets the targets. He's more than usually going to catch them. Um, I also don't hate the yards. Yards I'm a little hesitant on, um, but I like the touchdown the best there. Um, and yeah, those are the Thanksgiving games and the Black Friday game. Again, Chicago, Detroit on Thursday, first, and then Giants, Dallas, and then Miami, Green Bay is the night game. And then on Black Friday, Las Vegas against the Chiefs on Friday. Um, so we'll run through the picks right here quick again. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, receiving yards. David Montgomery, anytime touchdown. Keenan Allen at 4.5 receptions. Tyrone Tracy to go higher than his rushing yard line. Josh Jacobs to go higher than his rushing yard line. Devon Achane to go over his total yardage line. And Jalen Waddle to go under his receiving yard line. And then Brock Bowers an anytime touchdown with a pretty nice multiplier there as well. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys make a little money on Thanksgiving. Follow my Twitter, see exactly what I take, and what I hit on. We were doing really good last Sunday. And then Monday night, we read this perfectly, missed that, hit this easy, and then went over by 2 targets. It's sad to see, but make sure to follow that. Stay up to date with all my picks. And then, yeah, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace.